Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Morning, everybody. All right, you guys. There's so much to cover. There's so much news. It's coming so fast. I have to cover everything on both sides of the street, and I'm trying to do it as bring you guys up to speed and as fast as I can do it, and as honestly and as correct as I can do it. So just try to bear with me, and let's just get in and cover everything we have today, shall we? Let's go. First off, I want to thank my follower Tina for this photo that she sent me. Yeah, it's a beautiful photo. And in keeping with the dogs theme, you should know that the dogs made it home safely. Next up, I want to thank my follower Selena for sending me this beautiful photo of a sunrise in Savannah, Georgia. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, so to start off with, William and Catherine have changed their website. First it said Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, then it said Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and Cornwall. Now it says the Prince and Princess of Wales. Absolutely. So now she is, not that she wasn't before, but now she is Princess Catherine. Guess who else was updating their website? You guys, I've shown you this picture like a year ago where Meghan's Wikipedia page, all of this stuff said that she was an actress. And then right before she went on her first date with Harry, she changed it to read that she was a humanitarian. Well, she changed it again. She's changed it to read that she is now the daughter-in-law of King Charles III. Very interesting. I also found it very interesting that she lists her daughter before her son on the website, which makes it should be the son first because he's the older one. Very odd. And I also find it odd that she hates the monarchy. She slams it at every chance she gets, but yet she wants everybody to know that she's the king's daughter-in-law. Like, I don't get that. All right, next up, let's go back to the story that, it came out that Harry and Meghan had said that they were both going to go today or that day to Balmoral, and then almost immediately it was changed to read that it was just Harry that was traveling. And I had told you guys that I had a feeling that it was behind the scenes, that it was the family that said she can't come, and come to find out that is exactly what happened. Now, I want you to think about this. Even the Sussex squad, I want you to think about this. Your child marries somebody. You're not crazy about the person, but you support the marriage. You walk the person down the aisle. You give them clothing. You give them everything, a massive wedding. You do everything to make her feel welcome. And she leaves, takes your child with them, and then slams your family constantly and says horrible things about you. And the things that she's saying are lies. Now just think about that for a second. How would you feel? Would you want that person at the deathbed of another family member? I don't think so. So Tom Bauer was asked what he thought, and here you go.
Meghan wasn't there, was she?
Well,
and yet Sophie was.
Well, Meghan wasn't there because they didn't want her there.
It's as simple as that in your view?
Sure. I mean, she would have been an absolute irritant, and she had no place there, having been such a dreadful critic of the royal family. I mean, Meghan's presence, even at the funeral next Monday week, will be controversial. I thought it was interesting that Harry had to pay for his own plane up there and then took a BA commercial flight back down. There's no doubt that he has been told, you're not part of the firm, you're out. And that is going now. The truth is coming to haunt him, what he in fact has let himself in for.
Well, I mean, this is what I don't get. Harry's a security risk. He's already repeated things that he shouldn't have repeated. He's already said things to the press that he shouldn't have said to the press. And he's shown himself to be not trustworthy. That's why they didn't want him on the plane, because his book hasn't come out yet. And they knew that anything they said could end up in that book. Can you really blame them? Because I can't. So with that being said, a blind item came out, again, enforcing the fact we heard that they had a big fight, which is why Harry was late to the airport, because Meghan was going to go to Balmoral, and Harry was telling her that if she showed up, she might be thrown out. And apparently they had a big fight. But don't worry, guys. I'm sure the Netflix crew, and I'm serious, I'm sure the Netflix crew with the Queen dying didn't leave the UK. They stayed. They're probably taping Meghan at Frogmore, showing her upset or whatever it is they want to portray. And I'm sure all of this will make it into the Netflix special. Now, as for the previous photos of his face, I've told you guys it's very odd. Nobody's been able to take another picture from the right side. Do you remember this? Now, those seem pretty fresh, and people wrote to me and said, maybe Archie did it. Do you really think a 3-year-old could cause that much damage? Because I don't. Then somebody said, oh, he did it playing polo. No, he hasn't been to play polo in a while. There's no telling where those scratches came from. But the point is, when he was in the car, somebody got a photo of the side of his face. And the scratches are there, albeit they're healing. Here's a little bit of a closer look for you. Yep. Very interesting. On the left side, you can see it right in front of his ear. All right, moving on. Okay, really quickly, I saw this. Other people pointed it out to me. I discussed it with another Megxiteer, but you know this young lady above. We saw her. She was also in Germany. And then this photo came up. And people said, no. When Charles walked up, she turned her head. She ignored him. She didn't shake his hand. That's the girl. I beg to differ. Here's a video. I'm going to play it again in slow motion, okay? Just in case you missed it. Here he is working his way. There's her hand. He is now shaking her hand. She says something to him. She looks down at her friend. Look, I shook his hand. And then she looks at the camera. And she stares at the camera. I don't know why she's staring at the camera, but the point is, guys, she did not ignore him. He did not ignore her. She spoke to him and he shook her hand. There you go. Now, we remember that during the speech, Charles wished, Harry and Meghan the best as they build their life overseas. He expressed his love for them, but what a lot of people noticed is that he did not call them the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Right. So these kinds of articles that are being put out by Sunshine Sachs, he may consider allowing them to become part-time royals. I can tell you right now, this is not true. And no, he's not going to allow them to become part-time royals. That was very obvious in his speech. He wishes them luck as they build their life across the seas. There is no way back for them. It's over. And with that, I showed you guys yesterday that the line of succession was updated and the children are not listed as prince and princess. And people are saying, why not? They automatically become that. And come to find out, no, they don't. So this article came out, if you're confused about do they become automatically prince or princess, they're saying that every legal document is open to interpretation and every good lawyer knows this, and the royals have good lawyers. So there's going to be some clarification down the road about the 1917 letters patent, that they don't automatically become prince and princess, and they don't automatically get the HRH status either. Now, here is the relevant part of the text, just so you guys can look at it. I'm not going to read it. It's too long. Yes, as you can see, this is really long. That letters patent was ridiculously long, but here's what it comes down to. George V limited the status to 1, the children of the monarch, 2, the second generation of grandchildren of the male line, and 3, the third generation to the eldest son of the eldest son. So as you can see, George V wanted to keep HRHs in the family and only to those persons with a close connection to the throne. And those rules are enforced today. You can see them according to the article. Like Anne has an HRH because she was born a princess, but as a female child, her children were not entitled to it. So there never became HRH. Edward's children, as the children of a male child of the monarch, they would be HRHs. But when Edward married Sophie, the Queen decided that those children would not be HRH. Yes, correct. Now, legally, they're HRHs, but they're just not using them. So Kate's firstborn son would have had the HRH, but in December of 2012, the Queen issued new letters patent to make all the children of the Cambridges HRHs at birth, okay? Now, letters patent are not just issued. Harry was obviously going to marry. He can have children. Had the Queen wanted Harry's children to be HRH at birth, she could have included them in the letters patent that she issued for William's children. But she didn't, and that was way before Meghan or any question of race was in the mix. So let me repeat that in case you missed it. That was done in 2012, before Meghan was on the scene and before the issue of race was even there. So while Meghan has taken this and turned it into a race issue, which she did when she was on the Oprah show, because I think what happened was Charles explained to Harry and Meghan that Archie and Lily would not be HRHs. And therefore, she said, oh, they're going to change it. They're going to change it for my children. Truth is, it's not being changed. They were never entitled to it. And the only title that Harry and Meghan have ever wanted, let me take that back. The only title Meghan has ever wanted for her kids is Prince and Princess. She turned down, we found out later on that they were offered titles, but she refused them because she wanted Prince and Princess for her kids. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Sorry, guys. Now, it's also being reported that Spotify is going to stop the podcasts for right now. Gee, they may have to go back and fix those podcasts because now that the Queen has died and she is a worldwide figure and 99% of the world loved her and 1% is spewing hatred, but 99% loved her. Could you imagine how well those podcasts are going to go over when she's spewing hatred at the royal family right after the Queen has died? Like, it's going to go over like a lead balloon. And she was also supposed to be on the Jimmy Fallon show. That ought to be interesting. I would have liked to have heard what crap would have spewed out of her mouth then. And I find it very interesting that she was going to be in New York City on September 19th and then attend the UN General Assembly. And this would have been while Prince William was there working for the Earthshot Prize. Very interesting. Wonder what would have been happening. I'd also like to point out that with the Queen's death, their PR blitz just got blown out of the water. And it did. Nobody's even talking about them or what they did before. Hey, boy. People are asking, what is Harry going to do now? What's his role now that his dad is king? His role is to live across the ocean and do whatever it is that he's doing. Because I think Charles made it very clear he wanted out. He's damaged the family. Charles is very hurt. And, Harry said, I've lost my dad. I mean, what's left? Nothing. Here comes Cut Magazine, the magazine that Meghan did her interview with, where the writer who did the interview appears to have been terminated per her Twitter post. And the Cut Magazine that made fun of Catherine is now got this. People should be writing and complaining to New York Post because they're the ones that are putting this on the back of their magazine. Horrible. And one more little tiny tidbit of news. It's being reported that apparently Oprah Winfrey, it's alleged, Oprah Winfrey is sniffing around looking for an invitation to the funeral. I'm going to say no. Are you kidding? Sorry. It's also being reported that Meghan wants maximum visibility at the funeral, and basically she's being told no. It'll be very interesting to see if she even shows up, if she doesn't get to sit with everybody else. Kind of like what happened at the Platinum Jubilee. All right, let's move on now to the royals. Liz Truss had her first audience with the king at Buckingham Palace. Yes, there's Jonny. Apparently, one of the first things he said to her was how he had been dreading the death of his mother. It was the moment he'd been dreading his whole life. Could you imagine? How sad must it be that in order to get the job that you've been trained for your whole life, your mother has to die? How sad is that for him, really? And now that William and Kate are the new Prince and Princess of Wales, Catherine has made it known that she's going to make that her own. She's not going to follow any rule book, which I love. And thank you to the Royal Record for this photo, because yeah. It's being reported now that Beatrice has been elevated to Counselor of State, which makes sense because Charles was a Counselor of State. Now that he's king, there's an opening. And they're talking about if they remove Andrew and Harry, then Camilla and Anne would step into those roles. I think it'll be very interesting to see what happens. All right, the Queen's final journey. Her coffin is going to travel the length of the country to Windsor. Right now, of course, we know it's draped with the royal standard. It's in the castle's ballroom where she was when she passed away. On Monday, the coffin will proceed along Edinburgh's Royal Mile to St. Giles Cathedral. Then a service will be held there, and members of the royal family will take part in the vigil of the princes. We saw that when the Queen Mother died. On Tuesday, the coffin is going to be flown to London, and then it will rest at Buckingham Palace. A ceremonial procession will take place in London to Westminster Hall on Wednesday, and there people will be allowed to pay their respects where the coffin lies in state for 4 days. Now, again, when the Queen Mother's coffin lay there, in 2002, more than 200,000 people filed past, and they're saying that the funeral itself will likely take place on Monday, September 19th at Westminster Abbey. It will then travel to its final resting place, St. George's Chapel at Windsor. So today is the day that Charles III was formally proclaimed king. Now, the first thing that happened was the Queen's death was officially announced in the first part of the Accession Council by the Lord President of the Council, Penny Mordaunt. I hope I said that correctly. And here's the first shots of William since his grandmother died and he became the heir apparent. You can tell he's upset. I feel bad for him. Anyway, moving on. The proclamation was put up. Charles signed the proclamation, and then William signed it, and so did Camilla. Here's a little video clip for you to peruse. All hail the king. Good for Charles. Now, I want to bring up one more article that was just posted. Wow. This article came out saying that Jeremy Clarkson made a savage swipe at Meghan. No, I don't think it was a savage swipe. But here's what he basically wrote. That he struggled to sleep on the day that, it was announced, and he went on to call the Queen their unchanging rock. And it was pointed out that she never went out of fashion. This is the point. She never went out of fashion because she was never in it. Very admirable. She didn't see herself, as Meghan does, as a clothes horse or an advertising hoard for people who make frocks and earrings. He said, the Queen's never even changed her hair. And he loved her for that. The fact that she was very obviously chose her outfit to suit the weather, not the latest issue of Vogue. And that the nation of the UK owes her the most heartfelt debt any family can owe to their mother for her love, affection, guidance, understanding, and example. She was a life well lived. And now Charles has high hopes for William as the new Prince of Wales. I agree. All right, you guys, I'm sure that once again, there's going to be much more information coming out and stories, but I need to stop here for the day. I can pick back up tomorrow. There's just so much happening, and it's coming at a very fast pace, and I'm going to try to keep up. It's going to be difficult, though, just letting you guys know. So as always, don't forget to leave your comments below because you know I'm reading them. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future uploads. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, and Rumble, and you can email me. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and who have hit the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.